Chicago by the hands of the police department. I also would like to extend my condolences for these two families and all the families of the loved ones who have died. As most of you here today, I am exhausted, unsure if I have the words to describe the frustration and profound sense of sadness I experienced in the last few months. I often think, how much longer can we continue to do this? How many times do we have to come together to mourn another loss? How many more times do we have to see a mother and a father and a family and a child lose their parent? As a registered nurse and a union member, my profession's basic tenets are to protect fundamental sanctity of life. I often see patients in their most vulnerable moments. Interestingly, I also share responsibility as police officers, as a nurse. My responsibility is to protect and to serve, and to provide care for patients. However, during my care, if I were to take someone's life due to gross negligence and an error that I made in the resultant harm, I would immediately be prosecuted and lose my license and my practice, would I not? Why is it that when a police officer takes a person's life, they are not held to the same standard and face immediate consequences of their supposed mistake? How is police time after time held to a different standard than people like you and I that are responsible for someone else's life? Well-being and improvement our communities' lives. As organized laborers, when do we say, if you are a union member, you should not have the legal ability to stand up and fight or stand up and kill another human being while on the job? That's just not acceptable. And it shouldn't be acceptable for a police officer. As we mourn and witness these senseless killings time and time again, we recognize that the policing system is not only an issue that affects the black community, but all workers who are sacrificing their life and safety and for dignified life. Racism is a public health crisis, and it requires deliberate public response. When police use force, is among the leading cause of death in young black men's life in this community and BIPOC. The over-policing and criminalization of our state and city must come to an end. It is also unfathomable during one of the most turbulent and hard times in our community in Minneapolis as we face the George Floyd trial that we have this happen again. Further targeting the vulnerable and diverse areas, and specifically targeting the protesters who are on the ground demanding justice, as we should. These decisions are another example of our society's racist function, and as a labor movement, we cannot continue to turn a blind eye. We are seeking justice. As a union member, I am here because I believe in a labor movement that fights for security and dignity for all, not some. All. I believe we must come together to to continue to pursue the justice pursuit. I stand with our labor leaders in solidarity, calling in our elected officials, Governor Walz, to immediately enable the legislative policies, and I understand there's at least 15 that are waiting to be passed in legislation, that end the senseless racist murders and the end of militarization of our beloved city of Minneapolis in Hennepin County. Justice for Daunte Black and justice for all people of color that have recently lost their lives. And I want to stand because I'm a mother who has lost their son too soon. And I want to stand and say, I feel that pain every day. And I cannot imagine how that mom feels. And I just want to say Black Lives Matter, and I want everybody to stand together and just respect the dignity of life.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thank you. At this point, I'm going to open this up for any questions.
Do you have any thoughts on what happened at the Labor Center in St. Paul when guard troops were kind of chased away?
We do not have any thoughts on that. Right now, we want to focus on what's happening here in Brooklyn Center and justice for Daunte. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other question? If that's it, I just want to say thank you all for coming, and thanks to our union family for being here and standing in solidarity for justice for Daunte. Thank you.